فعالية مصرية إفريقية دولية هو المؤتمر الطبي والمعرض الإفريقي الثاني في هذه النسخة التي تقام هنا في المركز
Africa Health here in the center and the exhibition zone and also an exhibition of the medical equipment. Good morning, Mohammed. Very good morning to you, dear viewers. All wishing you all the success that actually achieved in Egypt. We'd like to welcome you at Al Manara Center for Conferences. And today we are witnessing launching the second edition of ExCon by the participation of 90 African countries, and of course honoring and presenting of the Mr. President of Egypt, the main support and auspice of the medical exhibition since the first edition in the last year. That achieved several successes and several goals for the sakeness of the Egyptian and African persons. Several partnerships and integration during the first edition of this conference that aims mainly and under the themes of Africa Health. And of course, inside the African continent and outside the continent to reach such a conference is a very important exhibition and experience for the best technology through which scientific roundtables and sessions to identify the medical technology in its best innovative edition. And here is the arrival of Mr. President Abdel Fattah Sisi to the Al Manara Center of Conference that soon will launch this edition of the exhibition, and the innovation of such an edition. In fact, the conference and exhibition is the biggest of its kind in the African continent and the Middle East. Now we're witnessing the arrival of President Abdel Fattah Sisi at the Manara Center to start and launch the proceeding of the second edition of this conference and an exhibition that comes in achieving Egypt's strategy 2030 that aims mainly in living in dignity and the health of the Egyptian citizen, and to the elevations of the Egyptian level of living, through which the medical initiatives have been made. Coinciding with this strategy and the Sustainable Development of 2030,
nous prions l'assistance de fermer les téléphones portables, s'il vous plaît.
While we are approaching the 2030, so that we've already exceeded in very important steps, and it is importantly the line up of the African vision and linking to the Egyptian expertise to be the role models, followed by the rest of the African continent. As Mr. President participated in several proceedings politically, to be the work and the joint work that leads ultimately to achieve the sustainable development. It's not only a unique state that makes the sustainable development, but the joint work, and Egypt has several achievements and successes in the issue of elevating viruses and confronting virus C, while the WHO measure is the biggest survey and treatment that include the citizen in the human history. Egypt has also an initiative of decent life, on top of which the Egyptian citizen to receive the best remedies for free in hospital, as well as women initiatives, the women's health initiatives regarding the vaccinating children and the health of children. According to the directives of Mr. President, as always is directing the integration of the African continent and extending collaboration bridges with our brothers in Africa in achieving the best interest of the continent. Egypt's vision of integration, health, but if we get back to a little to the history, we've witnessing the COVID-19 pandemic that overwhelmed the rest of the world, that changed the features of the health sector in the world, while the whole world realized, despite the progress and advancement, yet they are not active yet in confronting the pandemic of COVID-19. Therefore, some plans had to be changed, and the compliance of new standards in creating an appropriate environment of the health work that is based on the partnership whether in one continent throughout the world. The WHO has changed its plans and recommendations. Egypt had managed to cross the pandemic period successfully. That qualifies Egypt to be in the pioneer and in the front of the African continent line, to be a partner in achieving the sustainable development in the health sector that isn't far away of the reality and the potentials of Egypt throughout different levels, regionally and in Africa. The idea of COVID-19 pandemic, why we're working in the wake of it, that made states to see that it is necessarily to collaborate and cooperate with the near neighbor before the far friend in different continent. Therefore, the African approach in the first edition, and now we are witnessing the second edition by the honor of President Abdel Fattah Sisi, to laid out such a partnership in the field of investment, in the field of medical, pharmaceutical industry. Such localization industry of Egypt, as well as the achievement being scored recently and will extend in the field of medical equipment and requirement and in the medical system in general. Such achievement made such a conference a very important point of expertise, sharing through giving workshops to those who are working in the field, as well as the field of research and development, through a very important exhibition that was admired by all the participants of the world and domestic corporations participated in the past edition. based on the nature of investment, made to convey such a very important incident in Egypt that has very prolonging objectives we've already seen in the African system last year, and made such an event in a sustainable and African platform to be gathered and participated on Egypt. Most importantly, in the region, in the Middle East, or in the African Horn. Therefore, there are two very important dimensions to transform different sectors into industries that made the medical and pharmaceutical sectors aren't just sectors, but they are industries that contain all the potentials of human being and the capabilities of integrated industries to be provided, as well as investment projects participated by the private sector and the government that cannot be achieved by a single one country, or not reserved to the private sector or different industries. And as they are integrated industries, such a sector that contain all humanity in different nationalities and races, and their presence in different countries where are they located. They are in need of health service and very innovative technologies, such as the technologies of mechanisms and the development of the human factor. That ultimately, despite the technology being innovated, the human factor is a very important factor that we can call it the human wealth. And the provision of the most optimized management is the real success, and we may say that Egypt is the African portal in different sectors, industrial, in trade, and the path of a better life and the quality of life. And such an event is the best example and evidence. Truly, the human wealth we've already mentioned, that Egypt is enjoying of natural resources and the mentality, and it is the biggest and promising African market, even being marginalized. And Egypt was the pioneer and the main engine of Africa. Therefore, Egypt was chosen to receive and host such an event as an evidence and an example of integration in general. We are talking about sustainable development that Africa is longing for, and included Egypt. Egypt certainly is paying great attention of the African health that faces in very difficult and harsh circumstances. As Africa used to suffer severe pandemics such as malaria and such, that require collaboration and participation, in particularly after the spread of viruses and pandemics. Before we move to another point, it is notably indicated that Africa is the most difficult, the most countries actually that suffer the health problems, probably been on the hub of several diseases such as AIDS, but most notably the nutrition problems due to the conflicts have been there for ages, and so it is important to crystallize this matter to make Africa, while Egypt presided the African Union in 2019, made an aggressive plan that may change the reality of Egypt, of Africa, that actually took 10 years to be solved, as on top of which the medical sector, but also through the collaboration with Egypt and transferring the technology and expertise in the African-Egyptian collaboration that we all rely on a lot, not only in Egypt, but in the whole continent. There are some relations during the 7-8 years being grown and escalated in Africa. Maybe we never approached the countries throughout 10 years, Mr. President, and Egyptian delegations, Egyptian committees in different sectors made visits and laid collaboration protocols with them. It is a real opportunity for not only for material investment but for all sectors. It is in a very unique market through participation. The President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, President Abdel Fattah Sisi.
Que la paix soit avec vous. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue. Prenez place, s'il vous plaît.
فخامة الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي رئيس الجمهورية، السيدات
والسادة، Monsieur le Président Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Président de la République, Mesdames et Messieurs,
في في نسخته
الأولى
واليوم
de
نسخته
Africa Health ExCon
تحت شعار بوابتك نحو الابتكار والتجارة الذي تنظمه الهيئة المصرية للشراء الموحد والإمداد والتموين الطبي وإدارة التكنولوجيا الطبية، دلالة على نجاح مصر في تدشين أول منصة أعمال مستدامة خاصة بتطوير القطاع الصحي وباعتباره الحدث الطبي
Considering as the biggest African event throughout the continent, he comes with its importance to deepen the unified visions in the health sector in the African continent and to coordinate an effective African dialogue to exchange information and expertise, supporting innovation and the scientific research in the field of medications and pharmaceutical industries in Africa. More to be included in the conference in its current edition, and the speech of General Dr. Bahauddin Ziadat, the President of the Egyptian Authority for Unified Procurement and Medical Supply, and